What will heaven be like? I really hope you hang with me because this is going to be a fun one. I think when you understand the reality of heaven, it will blow your mind. Now, the Bible gives us several glimpses at heaven, but I've also got some ideas of my own that are pretty wild, but I also think very real. I remember when I was younger thinking that heaven was going to just be one big church service, that all we would do is sit around and sing songs and listen to Jesus talk. And I was always like, well, that doesn't sound very exciting. And as I've gotten older and more mature in my faith, the idea of that is now actually pretty exciting. And I'm sure there will be some of that, but that's not at all what heaven will be like. I think it's first important to understand that God created this earth. This is His creation. You are currently enjoying His creation. And even after it has been destroyed by sin, we can still find things that we enjoy. So why wouldn't heaven or the new earth be far more incredible than this earth? So many people are sad about exchanging this life for life in heaven. Listen, so understand this. God created the earth, and so He created heaven to be 1,000,000 times better, 1,000,000 times more beautiful, 1,000,000 times more exciting, 1,000,000 times more enjoyable, with 1,000,000 more things to do. Everything we have on this earth is from God and because of God. Modern technology and all the things we have to build houses, mansions, boats, exotic cars, yachts, those are all because God gave man the ability to create these things and the resources in which to create them. He understands the things that we like. And in heaven, we will have far more enjoyable things than this world could ever offer. Why would you not want to trade in your life for a life that is infinitely better than it is now? That's kind of like someone coming up to you and saying, hey, I'll trade you my brand new 0-mile Bugatti for your 200,000-mile beat up Kia. Straight up, no strings attached. And you're like, nah, I'll keep the Kia. I know everything about it. I know how it drives. I'll keep the Kia. That's crazy. See, the problem is we don't know what waits for us on the other side. And so we're like, no, I'm good here. I'm comfortable. I know what to expect. And I know that I can find things that I enjoy here. What if I can't find anything in heaven that I like? So let's talk a little bit more about heaven. Let's first clarify heaven. Heaven is just a temporary holding tank. The souls of believers who have already passed go to heaven. And then at the time of rapture, the bride of Christ, believers, are taken to heaven while the tribulation plays out on earth. And then after the tribulation, we return with Jesus for His second coming, and we reign in positions of authority for 1,000 years on this earth with Jesus, the millennial reign. Now, during this period, the earth will have been restored to Garden of Eden-like times. After the millennial reign, Satan is released for a short time, and Jesus defeats him once and for all and sends him and his followers, the unbelievers, into the lake of fire for eternity. And then God creates a new heaven and a completely new earth, the New Jerusalem. And here is where we spend eternity, on the new earth, where God dwells amongst His people. That was a lot. I hope you're still hanging on. So let's move on. The first glimpse we get at the new earth is in Revelation 21, after the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ on earth, when God will create a brand new cosmos and a brand new earth. Both the heavens and the earth have been tainted by the presence of Satan, so God destroys them all completely and starts over. On this earth will be a holy city, a new Jerusalem. This new city will be monstrous, 1,400 miles cubed. So 1,400 miles wide in all four directions and 1,400 miles tall. That's greater than the distance between Los Angeles and Kansas City, Missouri in all three-dimensional directions. You'd have to climb Mount Everest 255 times to get to the top of New Jerusalem. Now, to give you greater clarity here, the space station orbits the Earth at a distance of 250 miles away. So New Jerusalem will reach heights expanding nearly 6 times that of the orbit of the space station. That is huge. You've seen pictures from the space station, right? Well, zoom out 6 times, and that is the height of the city. The walls of the city will be 216 feet thick, made of pure jasper, which is like diamond. There will be precious stones all throughout. The city will be made of pure gold, with 12 massive entry and exit gates, representing the 12 tribes of Israel, each one made out of one solid pearl, and they will never be shut. Why? Because there will be no crime and no threat ever to the city. The Bible says there will be no sun, no moon. God himself will illuminate the earth. We will have the freedom to come and go as we please. The new earth will be far more beautiful than it is now. There will be places to go, things to explore, things to do, and people to visit. Jesus describes the current heaven as paradise when talking to the repentant thief on the cross. When we think of paradise, maybe it's something like a Caribbean island, Fiji, Tahiti, maybe a cabin in the woods, Santorini, Greece, Hawaii, Costa Rica, Baltimore. Okay, that one's a joke. But when Jesus says paradise, our idea of paradise won't even compare. Think of your favorite place on this earth, and then just imagine it being 1,000,000 times more beautiful, more breathtaking, and enjoyable. That's heaven. That's the new earth. Let's shift gears here for a moment and talk about what we will be like in heaven. The first thing to note is that we will have perfect, glorified, immortal heavenly bodies. 1 Corinthians 15 tells us, "For our dying bodies must be transformed into bodies that will never die. Our mortal bodies must be transformed into immortal bodies." So our bodies will literally be invincible. Revelation 21 tells us that God will dwell among us, with us. He will wipe away every tear. There will be no sadness, no sickness, tiredness, hunger, no obesity, aging, or disease. Our physiques will be on point without ever needing a gym or a strict diet. Everything will be perfect. We will eat for enjoyment, not for survival. All of our questions will be answered, and we will have complete understanding and knowledge of everything. We will be literal, real-life, superhuman superheroes. But it gets better. Here's the coolest part. Philippians chapter 3, verse 21 tells us, Jesus will take our weak, mortal bodies and change them into glorious bodies like his own, using the same power with which he will bring everything under his control. Our glorified bodies will be like the glorified body of Jesus. Jesus received his glorified body at his resurrection. So what does this mean? Well, let's take a look at the glorified body of Jesus to see what ours will be like. The first example we get of this is in Matthew 17, the Transfiguration. We read that Jesus was transformed so that his face shone like the sun and his clothes became as white as light. And then after his resurrection, we find Jesus suddenly appearing to two of his followers on their walk to Emmaus. And then later, those two were telling the story to the disciples of Jesus appearing to them. And while they were telling that story, again, Jesus suddenly and miraculously appeared again, freaking everyone out, thinking that he was a ghost. Jesus said, "Look at my hands, look at my feet. You can see that they were pierced on Calvary. It's me." Then he says, "Come here, touch me. Ghosts don't have bodies, but I do." Then he asked for something to eat to prove something. Not only do ghosts not eat, but they gave him a piece of fish, something they knew was real and tangible because they had just prepared it. They saw Jesus eat the food, and then they believed that he was the risen Messiah. So as we read, Jesus suddenly appeared. You know what this tells me? Travel at the speed of thought. It's pretty awesome. Now, here are some theories that I have of my own that I believe the Lord has given me visions of regarding what things will be like and what we will be able to do. So right now we have 5 senses, right? We have sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. I think we might have additional senses, and I think all of our senses will be drastically heightened. I believe that after the fall of man with sin, our senses became severely desensitized. I believe there could be additional dimensions. Right now, we only have 3 spatial dimensions. I believe that in our glorified bodies, we could experience many more dimensions. What or how, I don't know. But I believe there is much greater complexity and excitement for us in our glorified bodies. That it will be kind of like being born all over again, kind of like when they first landed on Pandora in the movie Avatar, but so much cooler. Again, you'll be able to travel at the speed of thought. You want to fly? Take flight. You won't need an airplane. Want to explore the depths of the waters if God creates them on the new earth? Jump in. You won't need a submarine or even scuba gear. Want to go whitewater rafting? No helmets, no life preservers needed because there will be no accidents and no injuries. Now here is what is so wild to me. You want to go explore the expanses of the universe? Go for it. The freedom is yours. God created the universe for him and us to enjoy. If you desire to visit and explore a far-off galaxy up close, just think of it and you'll be there. Speed of thought. Take some friends with you. Enjoy. And the gates of the New Jerusalem are always open for you to come back into the presence of your Creator and tell him just how blown away you are at his creation. There will never be a shortage of things to do and explore for the rest of eternity. There will always be something new to discover, and you won't need to stop for rest or sleep because you won't get tired or weary. Just take the next 10 minutes and let your mind go crazy. Think about going to Mars at the speed of thought. You don't need a spacecraft or an astronaut suit. Now imagine exploring the entire planet at the speed of thought. And after you've pranced around for a few days, and I put days in quotes because I don't think time will exist anymore. But go ahead, spend some time there, and then come back to Jerusalem and praise God for his creation. Then go off and explore one of the other trillions of galaxies. I believe there are an infinite number of galaxies, each with billions or trillions of stars and planets. You will never run out of things to see and explore. Imagine all these planets having different things to do. Let it blow your mind. Seriously, this is all yours just by simply accepting the free gift of salvation given only by grace through faith in the sacrifice and resurrection of Jesus Christ. You have two options: all of this and more for all of eternity, or eternity in the lake of fire, which is eternal torment and suffering. The choice is easy, and it's obvious, and it's free. If you haven't yet given your life to Jesus, then I urge you, make that decision today. Watch my pinned message if you need assistance in being led to Christ. It is the Lord's will that not one should perish. He loves you so much. But man, I'm so excited for heaven. I'm so excited to rule with Jesus during the millennium. I'm so excited for the new earth. But until then, believers, we have got work to do. So you, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus and your heart set on eternity.